Welcome to Buckets Live, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I'm joined by Bryan Fonseca from the New York Post and Action Network Combat Sports. Bryan Fonseca NY on Twitter and in the Action Network app. You can catch him on his YouTube page at Bryan Fonseca, where he does great shows about all sorts of things. He also does live watch-alongs for the Knicks, which, regrettably, sir, you are going to have to keep doing work for a few weeks longer. It looks like.
It's not regrettable. I'm very grateful.
Also joined by Michael Fiddle at Fiddle's Picks, host of the Sports Advantage podcast. Is that sport? No, the Betting Advantage. Is that right?
The Advantage Sports Betting Podcast.
Advantage Sports.
You had all the right words in the
not the right order.
The Mad Libs.
I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
SEO can figure it out for us.
He's at Fiddle's Picks on Twitter and across social media. He also does a live Twitter stream daily, breaking down the lines, the market, where everything's at. So check that out as well. If you have bets for Wednesday, May 14th in the association, please drop them in the old chat segment and we will get to it. First, I will start here, where Vibrational Assassin decides to just kick me in the stomach from the very get-go. I think it swung way too far the other way towards Indy. And if Donovan Mitchell plays, I'm going to be all over the Cavs in game 5. Ha, 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 ha. Maybe you'll recoup that money in game 6. Oh, wait.
It's a hell of a profile picture.
Damn, man. Yeah. So, I bet Cavs. I bet Cavs title. Had a Cavs title bet live for about 2.5 hours. And now that one is gone. I'm livid with the Cavaliers. I'm so mad at them on so many levels. Like, everyone's like, Donovan Mitchell missed all his threes. And I'm just like, their problem, guys, was defense. It was defense this entire fucking series. Like, the entire series, their defense was not good enough. And Atkinson played right into their hands. Do you know what you don't want to do if you're facing the Indiana Pacers? You do not want to get into an up-tempo back and forth game. I get it. You're like, well, we're the number one offense. Not here. You're not. Okay. Here you're the well-balanced 1 seed with the superstar. That's who you are.
And the
Pacers are the team with like big shot makers and so much offense and lots of guys that can make big time plays. They look so small this entire series next to the Pacers. I can't be more impressed with the Pacers. I can't be more impressed with Rick Carlisle. I can't be more impressed with how this goes. I hate that I lost money on 2 consecutive Pacers series because I love this team so much. It's absolutely painful to me that I've lost on them. And if they lose to the Knicks, I'll be even madder. I'm going to be on Knicks in that, or I'm going to be on Pacers in that series. I'll just tell you right now. Like, I talked about it today on Buckets. My market is absolutely like, there's no way that I'm going to get anything but a great price from my number perspective on the Pacers. They'll probably lose because I'm going to bet against them twice and lose, and then bet on them and win, or bet on them and lose. But phenomenal job by the Pacers in this series. Awful job by the Cavaliers. Awful job by Kenny Atkinson. Darius Garland was so hurt. I get it. Sometimes, like, here's the lesson. If you're a little bit of guard and you are not 100%, you have got to sit out. You cannot be on the floor. That Nembhard and 1 was the game. Like, how he hit the dagger, that Nembhard and 1 was the absolute dagger in this game. You cannot. And I don't know why Atkinson, the entire year, the Cavs were not a switch-heavy team. And in this series, they were like, let's switch everything all the time. You don't have the personnel, man. This team isn't built for that. So, big changes, not big changes. Some changes probably coming for the Cavaliers. We'll see. Fiddle, what was kind of your betting reaction to this series and how it went?
I'm not too surprised that the Pacers ended up taking it. It was surprising to see some Cavaliers action come into the market. I think a lot of the market swings, it's hard to read when there's so many injuries and questionable, and then this guy plays, and it seems like Garland's going to play game 2, and then he's out. Is he going to play game 3? Okay, all of that weird stuff happened this series. So if you try and evaluate line movement to understand market and sharp side, it becomes kind of convoluted. So like the pricing of Cavaliers coming out, I think mainly was Donovan Mitchell coming back, but I know that there was definitely some sharps on the Cavaliers today, and I thought it was surprising. I thought the best bet today was Pacers minus 320 in the series because I just didn't think they were going to lose 3 straight at this point. That being said, like, let's go back to the Garland thing. In the last 5 minutes of this game, when it was still in the grasp for the Cavs, Garland was sitting in the corner on offense when he was like on the opposite possession of that Nembhard and one. He's waiting in the corner as just a 3-point outlet doing nothing. He's grimacing up and down the court. He is wearing a special shoe. He's got this turf toe. He cannot cut. He's like, okay, he's fine. He's a decent catch and shoot. He's a good catch and shoot option. But you had DeAndre Hunter on the bench, who's a catch and shoot option. You had Max Strus on the bench, who's a catch and shoot option in some of those. Like, why are you sticking with Garland if he can't move? He's grimacing, and then he's getting crushed and attacked defensively. There was another one a few possessions later where Nembhard hit a 3, and I thought that one was the dagger, but it was right over Garland when he couldn't recover. He couldn't close out in time, and then they called the timeout. They ended up taking out Garland for Max Strus, and then coming back to Garland for Ty Jerome a few minutes later. But yeah, it was some, feels like rookie playoff experience for Kenny Atkinson in that favorite in a playoff scenario. He obviously made it with the Nets years ago, but they weren't in any sort of driver's seat. So coming into this one, it's a new environment for Kenny. I expect him to learn from it. I expect the Cavaliers to kind of run it back with a pretty similar iteration and hang their hat on some anomalous stuff, some injuries being the reason why they didn't break through this year.
I think two things are true. I can respect Garland for coming back and playing through it and acknowledge how hurt he was. And I can also at the same time think I think they should move on. Like, I just think that they should trade Garland. I'm
kind of going there too, Matt.
I just think you need a defensive guard next to Mitchell.
I kind of like it.
Mitchell's so good. You would never do this because you don't want to send this team in particular your really good guard who's younger and has a long-term process, but like, don't hate the idea of a Darius Garland for Drew Holiday deal. Just don't. There'd have to be other stuff from Boston because Drew's near the end of the rope, but like, that's the type of guard I think that you're going to need. Like, you need that level. Otherwise it's Orlando. And if I don't know if you're Orlando, do you just like, do you say yes automatically to Suggs and whatever for Garland? I don't know.
Could New Orleans be on the phone?
I thought about that, but I'm just kind of like, okay.
2 for 2, DeJounte and Zion for Garland and JA.
Well,
Mobley to the center, Zion at the 4.
That's a hell no for me.
Murray as the defensive guard alongside Donovan.
You can't do it because DeJounte tore the Achilles. DeJounte's out until at least January,
season, right?
And you just can't. You can't take that kind of step back. So no, I would not do that. I would. And even then, DeJounte's defense is honestly falling off such a cliff. Like, I think you need an elite defender next to Mobley. I think you need like Jalen Suggs, Chris Dunn, Cason Wallace. That level of guy is what you need. So that's what I think. In this one, OKC and Denver, 56-54 at the break. Interesting trends in this game is actually the half-court stuff. Denver is losing the half-court battle here. OKC with an 88.4 offensive rating in the half-court, Denver with only an 86. Denver's lead and their success has been built on their transition plays via clean the glass or plus 12.8 in transition. I would lean here. I'm already on OKC minus 10.5. I'm not going to go back in, but I would lean towards OKC here second half. I think Denver's gotten a bounce back performance from Jokic, and there's like so much that they're getting right, and it's all going very well. Like, Jokic is at 8 of 13. He's got 19 points and 9 rebounds here in the first half. Like, he's on track for 40 and 20. So, but I think if you look at it, OKC is getting pretty good shot selection. They're not getting the offensive rebounds in this one. Denver is. Should be a close one, but I do lean towards OKC depending on what the price is. Fonseca, do you have any thoughts on this game in the spot?
You probably have more thoughts on Cavs Pacers.
What are your thoughts on Cavs Pacers? I'll ask you.
1 second, because to answer your first question, I figured Jokic at some point would start having the Jokic game.
Yeah.
He has no turnovers so far, which I think is a big thing. The problem is his team has 10. And this feels like it's going to be one of these games where Jokic has a monster second half, but is he going to get enough from everybody else is sort of the question, because I'm looking at it and I've been watching it and it's like Michael Porter Jr. talking about playing through injury. Michael Porter Jr. has been doing that. And tonight he hasn't really done a lot, really anything so far to this point. They'll need him to make a big shot at some point. Aaron Gordon is low-key kind of Teflon now. Like he's probably got a 100% approval rating. And he's hit some shots. He's been efficient. He's been attacking in the first half so far. But Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. to me, and even Christian Brown, who he's made a couple of threes, but like you need him to cash in a little bit more. So it's just a matter of, is Jokic going to get that level of help to me? Because I still think Oklahoma City has another reachable level to get to. And as far as betting live, I mean, I'm very tempted by OKC, but I don't want more on this game. Cavs Pacers didn't really go too well as a series in totality, of someone who thought the Cavs could win it. But then again, they had their chances. They came out in game one and I'll just transition to that now, Matt. They came out in game one and it was like without Darius Garland. And I feel like, all right, we may have overlooked that a little bit in terms of how much it mattered, but game one is game one. Game two is where the Pacers won the series for me. Just stealing that game at the very end. It's like, this is where I thought the Knicks won, and they haven't yet, but they will, most likely. This is where I thought the Knicks won the series against Boston, which is stealing game two. And then it was like, oh, unless Boston wins 2 straight here, which we saw, and it didn't look like it was trending that way even before Jason Tatum unfortunately ruptured his Achilles. But like, stealing game two matters a ton when you're the road team, come to find out. And I think with Indy, I think they're super legit. We've already got a couple comments, one in particular about loving them against the Knicks. To me, like I think Indy is super legit. I don't know. I got to look more into the potential Knicks series. I also think how the Knicks close matters, because I could see Boston being the spot tomorrow and having a sort of like an emotional victory, having the sort of galvanizing win. And also, I expect them to shoot a ton of threes. Maybe they make a bunch of them. And the Knicks do play with their food. They did it even against Detroit. So I could see Boston, even without Jason Tatum, with this being the case. Sam Hauser, I think, is probable. And he's going to come in and shoot some threes. I think they're going to shoot a ton of threes tomorrow and see what happens. I'd be nervous about Jaylen Brown running the offense. But, this is kind of where you're at. And I think as it pertains to like moving forward, I mean, I took Pacers to win the East at plus 700 during the Cavs series. Like, it was still that high. Now, obviously, you're not getting that anywhere. But I took him at that point because, like, this matchup against the Knicks, I think a lot of Knicks fans, and trust me, I know a lot of them, a lot of Knicks fans think that this series might be not easy, but I think they think because they beat Boston, they could beat Indiana. And the NBA playoffs don't work that way all the time. Matt, you and I texted about this earlier. There are a bunch of teams who beat former champions who don't end up winning the following series or end up losing at some point, even when people think, oh, you beat the defending champ, so you could just win this whole thing. It's not always how it works.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's talk about some bets tonight. What were you on tonight, Brian?
Okay. For this game, we're waiting out Jalen Williams over rebounds, assists. That was 9.5. He has 6 at halftime. So that's looking pretty good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, however, I took his rebounds and assists. He has 5. And I need him to get over 12.5. So TBD on that. He's not getting any rebounds in this game. He's not getting any so far. And then as far as the Cavs Pacers, I really liked Max Strus over threes, and he didn't make a single one. So that's just awesome. Miles Turner, he missed a lot. That didn't go too well. But Donovan Mitchell got over his points. And I said, listen, even on half an ankle, I think he's going to get 30 plus. And he did that. He had to. And it still didn't matter, unfortunately.
Fiddle, what were you on tonight?
I only really had a total position in this OKC Thunder Denver game. I had over 219.5 and then under 222.5. And I played the over for more. So I'm tilted in the direction of the over with one of those classic Fiddles middle. 110 at halftime, 56-54. Can we just replicate that one time over and have this game land at 220 so I could sweep the board and hit the middle? That would be really, really, really nice. I'll get these. It's 28-27 Denver in back-to-back quarters. Let's do that 4 straight times, please. I also think, wait, one more thing. I also think OKC minus 4.5 as a live bet at FanDuel right now is definitely worth it. You guys both spoke to it. I actually just think that also represents some good value. And if you consider the way OKC was pushed in the late market up, and then you get this good number at halftime, which is baked in, like with the late game fouling, you're likely to push this over 2 possessions. I definitely would buy in on, and I did buy in on some OKC minus 4.5.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about tomorrow's games. Jason Tatum done for the season, probably next season with a torn Achilles. What a brutal break for him. We kind of talked about what we expected from that series today on Buckets, but you can catch that in the podcast feed. But I want to get y'all's thoughts on tomorrow. Fiddle, where's the market at? Where's the market moving? How's the market shaping up for tomorrow's 2 games?
So for Knicks and Celtics, what I really think is interesting is the 208.5 in the total. That was the exact total close for the previous 2 games. And obviously with Jason Tatum being injured, it reopened 4 points lower and has consistently gone towards the over. So the biggest sharp side that was clearly swept up by the market was the over in Knicks Celtics. Is it still playable? I'm not sure if you believe it's still the right side. I'd probably play it small, having moved 4 points. Like Bryan said, Sam Hauser is probable. So when Tatum gets replaced by Hauser, there's going to be a bad defender and a fast release 3-point shooter is just going to be sitting back there. So I expect Celtics to just continue launching a bunch of threes and try and play the math game with good shooting at home. So I would look towards the over, and the Minnesota Timberwolves have clearly taken some action. Clearly taken some action. I do think that is the right side. That's going to be my best bet when we get to it.
Roshan Robinson says a lot of people have lost money on Celtics and Cavs futures. I'm one of them. So that's rough. I thought West would not be chalk, and it hasn't been chalk because number 2 goes down, and everyone kind of thought the Lakers would go. I did too. They're out. But yeah, I did not see this Pacers run coming. I should have. I'll say that. I definitely should have seen this Pacers run coming because they were such a dangerous squad with Mike Sandy, who's been here, and I think on every live show saying how much he hates Buddy Hield. I just like that he just brings them.
Matt, here's the other thing too. You and I both like the Pacers. I also think maybe it's not you didn't see it coming. It's probably you kind of saw it coming, but didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, the Pacers are the kind of team that I talk myself into, and I talk them up, and then they lose.
Yeah,
this time they won. So now that I'm in on them, they're screwed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Fiddle, sorry if you said this. What are your bets for tomorrow?
Tomorrow's going to be Wolves minus 11 or 11.5. Best number you can find it. That's where I'm still willing to take it.
Okay, and you're not on 207.5 yet?
No, I'm not going to play it. I just think it's, if we're understanding, like you just asked me for market overview for that day, that's like the obvious spot. But what I still think is worth betting is Timberwolves ATS.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Bryan, what are your plays for tomorrow?
Derek White over 18.5 points because how could you not?
Yep.
And also Peyton Pritchard over 2.5 threes because also how could you not?
Okay, so I'll say this.
I'm big on those because those both seem incredible.
Derek White was minus 106 at one book. Over 18.5 points. Peyton Pritchard minus 110 even at one book also.
Yep, great.
Okay, I'll probably wind up playing them because those numbers are very good. Here's the problem. Okay. Because if Jaylen Brown were not a shell of himself, I would be all over this and probably would be looking at like, hey, the Celtics could win this game. The problem is that Tatum is the only guy that can leverage the opponent right now. With Kristaps ill, they can't post him up and force help. And Tatum was the one running ISOs. I looked this up today. He's at like 25% of their total possessions just from pick and roll and ISOs, including pass outs from him. So when you start to think about like how the Celtics generate those threes, it's no longer going to be pick and roll, slipping a pick, which I think Tatum's really great at. Like all these mechanisms they use to force the defense to come over and help, and then kicking to shooters. It's going to be those other possessions where it's like, pass around the perimeter, take a three. Pass around the perimeter, take a three. Now they can hit them. They're at home. Role players shoot better at home. But I am a little bit worried about their ability to get, like, I shouldn't be. So this is the problem is, I would think that an NBA coach would look at this situation and be like, hey, guys, they have one dude with one knee who can dribble, drive, and beat us. So maybe we should just switch everything and stay home. Don't help. Just stay home. Because they're not going to be efficient enough to beat us with twos without Tatum. Just stay home. Unfortunately, I feel like Tibbs is going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's why these plays are probably going to hit. Like, that's probably like a really good read there, Brian, because like, they're going to keep crashing on the interior, even though it's like the only way they beat you, man, is if they hit a bunch of threes. That's the only way they win this game, is if the Celtics hit a ton of threes. It's the only way they beat you. It's the only way they win any game.
Yeah, I'm also banking on a lot of volume. Like, I think Pritchard's just going to come in. I'd be surprised if he started, but I expect him to play a healthy amount of minutes. We'll say 30 plus, and he's just going to jack shit up. And honestly, he's one of the only guys that they have that can shoot off the dribble threes.
Yeah.
And then with Derek White, I mean, he's your best shooter. And he's going to have to shoot a ton of times because, I mean, they were here's the problem, right? In the fourth quarter, the last fourth quarter, the Knicks were actually running like a balanced offense where they were getting twos, they were getting shots in the mid-range area. It was Jalen Brunson, then it was Mikal, OG Anunoby had a drive, Karl-Anthony Towns. The Celtics were running a Jason Tatum save us offense where he was doing fucking everything. That's why it was really a bummer also that he got hurt when he did, because he was having like one of his best games. He was having a sensational game and was keeping them in it. The problem is nobody else was doing anything of note. Like Porzingis tried on a couple different drives. He's not himself at all. And that has really changed the series a lot. We can get to like Knicks Pacers is really interesting because in talking about it, and Knicks fans obviously don't want to hear this, but Porzingis doesn't look like himself. Jaylen Brown, you talked about the knee. Tatum had the wrist issue even before this. Like these things kind of matter. And in terms of how Boston is going to generate these shots, I have a fear that it could look like game one where they were just doing that, Matt, especially in the second half. And really in game two also where they were just passing it around and just chucking up threes. But, you know, even when they do that, they still have games where they can hit them. I do worry about like how much Jaylen Brown we might see tomorrow. Or is it going to be like a lot of Peyton Pritchard? Is it going to be Porzingis trying to do things that he kind of physically can't right now? So they just have to hit a ton of threes. And that's why I think these guys are every Celtics over tomorrow is a volume play, I think. And look, they could shoot 25 for 60 from three. Like they could still do that.
Yeah. I mean, they absolutely could. I'm going to be on Knicks because I can't get there on the number. That was the problem with like where I'm at is I make this three and this open three and it moved to 4.5 and I can't justify that number. So I'm going to be on Knicks plus the 4.5 and on the money line because if I'm taking that, I'm taking the other way. Teams up 3-1 on the road after the first round, not good, but I can't get there on the number. And so I'm going to play it. Fiddle, you're playing the Wolves here, and I guess it's not the same as the Pacers. I assume that part of your cap is just like the Warriors know they're done, and so it's just kind of wrapped. I will give you the trend, which I think is worth talking about. So teams at home after the first round, up 3-1, 28-9 straight up, but only 18-19, 49% ATS. Not a real edge there. However, what I did was I did look at if you're more than a 4.5 point favorite. But again, what we see kind of the same kind of trend, which is 24-8, straight up, 75%, but 14-18, 44% ATS. So it's like, this is what I'm worried about. I think with the elimination games are kind of the exception to the Matt Mitchell rule, where you can cover it because the market is so much like, oh, they're just so much better, and everybody's like, oh, they've been killing them. They're gonna, and then it's like, well, yeah, they win, but they're not gonna wind up covering. So I worry about the spread here. Why do you like the Wolves take care of business and cover the number tomorrow?
So I think it's kind of just a potential Warriors quit spot. Big reason why I like this is really just an ode to Chris Finch and his coaching, because I'm a huge Steve Kerr fan in the way that his system runs, and they're so good without Steph. So fading long numbers against the Warriors when Steph's out, it's generally not a philosophy of mine. But I just think if the Timberwolves get up, 10 plus, this is really one of those potential Warriors kind of quit spots, because they know they maybe get Steph back the following game. I would say probably not. And then we wonder what the rest of it looks like. So I just think that this is potentially, if the Wolves start hot, it can get ugly really quick type of thing. Early market has taken the Timberwolves, so I'm backing it there. It's gone towards the over in the spread. I mean, in the total. So therefore, I feel comfortable backing the spread at a long number. And so I just think this is the game where, they're knocking down all their shots. The crowd is roaring. They got that wolf howl in the background in Minnesota. Even Brandon Anderson's, pumping his fist watching the TV. And we get to a Wolves making it back to the back conference finals. Them along with the Pacers will be the story of tomorrow night.
Okay. I am not going to play anything with this game at all.
Can I make one really interesting point?
Hit me.
Someone said this to me, and I really respect, their betting action, and they're not like a content-based person. They're just a betting person. And they said, like, it really needs to be a discussion taking the Wolves at a long number like this because of Draymond saying 5.5, and clearly the Warriors urge to cover spreads. And so I was like, honestly, it was just like, it scared me a little bit off of taking this number.
They have one backdoor cover in this series.
It was a really serious bettor who made that remark, not just like a fan who bets.
So, they have one backdoor cover in this series, like really last second one.
There's a selection bias problem here, which is like, of course, every bettor is going to be like, they had to know the spread. They all know the spreads. Of course they knew the spread. The problem is like, there's like, when I watched it, I still was like, I didn't see 5.5. Like, that is not what I saw when he was talking.
He mouthed 5.5?
No. I think that we were...
That's fair. I don't think players know spreads either, and I've always argued the same thing, and that would be ridiculous. It also wasn't the closing line of that game. But it was shocking to see. I'll say that.
You don't think they know spreads even now, even today?
And Brian, no, I don't think they know. Most of them know. But, Brian, they've also had the last two games are backdoor covers. It was that game on the Kuminga 3, and then it was them down like 111 to 95, and then the game ended 117-111, and they covered.
So one of the things in the tweet that went viral on this, it said Draymond Green reportedly said, according to Whomst reported it, because I don't see you citing any sort of actual reporter. And then it's because you're suggesting it. And the problem with it is it's a primacy effect, where it's like, if I tell you, hey, look at this video of Draymond saying 5.5, and I show you a video of Draymond saying, let's see, live in the path. You're like, must be, I saw it. So I think that a lot of them know the spread, but I also just think that, like, look, these guys make so much money and I understand that there's gonna be the talk about all the other scandals, but I'm not worried about it.
I have a question about a prop in this game.
There is a question in the chat about, is Steph ruled out? He has been ruled out for this game. He will not play in this game. If the Warriors find a way to Warriors this thing and they get back to Golden State, I will bet you he plays game 6. Go ahead.
Is the chat tempted by, and are you guys tempted by, Jimmy Butler under 26.5 points?
Real sick.
Because if this is an ass whooping, he's not getting 27.
No,
he's not. He might not get 39 minutes. It might be off the floor with 5 minutes left if it's a 24-point game.
Yeah. The bigger thing is like he'll have like a playoff Jimmy game, and then he vanishes for a while, and then he has a playoff Jimmy game, and then he vanishes for a while, and then
He's
and
older.
I said this, but this is who he's been, and I said this before this, like when everybody was asking me about it. What do you think about playoff Jimmy? I said the same thing, which is, are they playing Milwaukee? Because if they play Milwaukee, then he can be playoff Jimmy every night. Like I'm gonna do the work actually, and I'm gonna look up like what's Jimmy Butler's actual playoff performance record. What's his stat line in non-games versus the Milwaukee Bucks since 2020?
There's some really good Boston ones in there.
I feel like the Sixers could count too. You
There's
took
some good
Tobias
Sixers
over me.
Yeah, he had a really good Sixers series.
But
there's a 40-point game against the Hawks, or close to 40, something like that. Whatever. Look, he's had a lot of awesome. I mean, even look, if you go look at the Sixers run, everybody, I hate when the shit does that. When you go look at the Sixers run, everybody underperformed in that starting five except him, especially in that Raptors series. Like Joel Embiid was like all fucked up, but he's always fucked up in the postseason.
I appreciate you defending the mythology of this.
No, I'm just saying it's not completely
that we've created.
It's not completely fictional. Like there are enough highs. There are enough highs there. A lot of them. But tomorrow though, I was really surprised to see this line at 26.5 in terms of the points. I'm probably going to stay away from it, but the under is tempting me. As is Kuminga over 17.5. Like I can see those two things sort of happening. Like it gets to a point, if it plays out the way Fiddle thinks, and it's like 59-38 Wolves at halftime or something like that. That might be too many points for the Wolves. 49-33 at halftime or something like that. I could just see Kuminga just like ISO, and just getting 18 points.
Yeah. Okay. That's going to do it for Buckets. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Brian, you gave best bets, didn't you?
Yeah. Derek White, Payton Pritchard. Payton Pritchard 3, Derek White points.
Forgive me. I've done so many Buckets episodes that everything has started to run together. I will have a file up on Action Network tomorrow with these guys' bets, as well as the bet that we did on the Tuesday episode with Brandon. Go check that out. We did a series reset. You also got my thoughts on the lottery and why I think the whole thing is insane.
Do you want to do any Knicks Pacers, Matt? Do you want to do any Knicks Pacers?
I don't, because we don't have a spread yet.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't like. They can hear me saying like I'm going to take Pacers, but I don't want to give them a number. Like I have a number, and I'll tell you, but I'm not going to give them that number. Not that they care, but I'm not going to give it out.
We got to finish. Let's see how they finish against. I think how they finish against Boston matters. Like if this goes another game,
I agree.
No.
I agree.
The chat seems to really like the Pacers, though.
The most Knicks things would be to lose this series.
Or to at least
man, look at Zach Mock here. I have money on the Pacers to win the East at 3,300 and Hallie MVP 5,200. He says, should I hedge with Nemhard Siakam to win EMVP?
No,
I think Siakam could be worthwhile.
No, that's not a hedge.
Yeah, Fiddle, give me the thought.
That's not a hedge. They could lose the series and Jalen Brunson could win the Eastern Conference MVP. The way to do it, if you have Hallie Eastern MVP at 52-1, first of all, Zach, hell of a ticket. Great job. And then second to that, I would say wait till game 4, 3-4, so you see the field narrow down to 2 candidates. Maybe the Pacers are up 3-0 by game 4, and it's Hallie or Siakam, and then you can make your move on Siakam. But if we get to game 3 or 4, and it's like there's no direct hedge you can make on a Eastern Conference MVP because there's so many options at the beginning of a series. You can wait and then kind of de facto consider it a direct hedge when the candidates kind of eliminate themselves. But Zach, the other thing that you would consider doing is if you have Pacers to win the East at 33-1, just hedge that ticket harder than any hedge in the Halliburton MVP market, because you could just do a complete hedge of your Pacers to win the East with Knicks to win the East, and then essentially use that as part of your Hallie hedges. That's how I would do it. I would let the entire Hallie part ride and just take a bigger chunk than you were expecting in your Pacers to win the East.
Excellent. Great job, Fiddle. That was excellent.
Have you seen Jamal Murray this quarter?
Yeah, he had 11 a second ago. How many he got now?
24.
What the?
They're up 12.
What is happening?
over looks great, but I'll shut my mouth.
He's got 24 for the game. He had 11 in the quarter a second ago. Okay. All right. So we'll see how this goes. All right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Check out the podcast tomorrow and on youtube.com/The Action Network. We'll see you guys again then. And then Buckets live tomorrow, 10:30, probably after Wolves Warriors concludes. If not, it'll be during halftime. I haven't checked the start time on that. Check out the link there. Download the Action Network app. Follow Brian and Michael. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.
Tatum.